We've all had moments where we feel stuck, like we're meant for more, but something's holding us back. We say we're waiting for the right time, the right tools, the right feeling, but deep down, we know what we're really doing. We're stalling, hoping that somehow success will find us. But the truth is, nothing great in this life happens by accident. Dreams don't come true because we wish for them. They come true because we work for them, because we push ourselves past fear, past doubt, past comfort. This isn't about hype. It's not about hustle for the sake of looking busy. It's about stepping into the kind of person you are always capable of being, the one who makes it happen, not the one who waits around hoping it will. Today is not about inspiration that fades. It's about truth that sticks. It's about facing yourself honestly and deciding, right here and now, that you're done playing small. Because what you want isn't out of reach, it's just on the other side of your hesitation. And once you push through that, everything changes. So many of us are just waiting. We're waiting for the right time, for the right opportunity, for the right people to notice us, for everything to finally align before we take the first step. But let me tell you something that might sting a little. The perfect moment doesn't exist. It's a myth we use to protect ourselves from the fear of starting. Because starting is scary. It's raw, it's uncertain, it's uncomfortable. But it's also where everything begins. We're conditioned to think that we need a sign, some grand event, some external permission to begin. But truthfully, the only permission you need is your own. The only sign you'll ever get might just be this moment right now. The people who make things happen don't sit around hoping life hands them the keys. They go out and forge their own door, build their own key, and break through it. They don't wait to feel ready. They move while they're afraid, while they're unsure, while they're doubting themselves. That's the difference between those who build something lasting and those who just dream about it. The ones who build, who push forward, they create momentum. And momentum doesn't come from thinking, planning, or even researching. Momentum comes from doing. One small action leads to another. One small win creates a ripple. And that ripple becomes progress. The real trap is perfection. We tell ourselves, I'll start when I have it all figured out. That sounds smart, right? But it's not wisdom, it's fear wearing a suit. We hide behind perfectionism because we're scared to be seen trying. We're scared of being messy in public. But every master was once a beginner who stumbled, who made mistakes, who looked awkward. You can't refine what doesn't exist. So start. Even if it's clumsy. Even if it's half-baked. Start and then make it better. I've met so many people who are waiting for clarity before they move. Clarity doesn't come first. Action does. You want clarity? Then take the next step. Because when you move, the path becomes visible. But when you stand still, all you see is fog. Progress reveals direction. You don't need to know how the entire staircase looks. You just need to find the courage to step on that first stair. And don't underestimate the power of beginning. Because the beginning shifts everything. It changes your posture. It alters your self-perception. You stop seeing yourself as a spectator in your life and start realizing that you're the one holding the pen. That mindset shift alone is massive. Once you realize that you are the one who gets to decide when the story changes, everything changes. Too many people are busy making plans, but plans without movement are just dreams sitting on paper, and dreams without action turn into regret. There's a cost to not starting. And it's heavier than failure. Failure teaches. Delay robs. Every day you wait, you're losing time you'll never get back. And time is the one thing none of us can replace. You might think you need more confidence before you begin, but here's the truth. Confidence is the reward, not the prerequisite. Confidence comes after you've acted scared. It's earned by showing up. You gain it by honoring your commitments to yourself, by doing what you said you would do even when it would have been easier not to. That's where the power comes from. And if you're sitting there thinking you're too late, too inexperienced, or too broken, don't. Because everything you've been through has shaped you into someone who's ready, whether you see it or not. You don't need another course, another certification, or someone else's approval to get started. What you need is a moment of truth. A moment where you stop negotiating with your doubts and start believing in your capacity to figure things out. You don't have to know everything. You just need to know that you won't quit when it gets hard. That's what separates the people who make it happen from those who don't. The willingness to start without guarantees, to show up without applause, to move forward when no one's watching. That's the test. And the ones who pass it, they're not the smartest in the room. They're not the most talented. They're simply the ones who stopped waiting and decided to build. They built while tired. They built while insecure. They built while hearing every voice in their head screaming, "Who do you think you are?" And they built anyway. So if you're looking for a sign to push yourself, to finally begin, let this be it. Not tomorrow. Not next Monday. And not when the stars align. Right now. Because the truth is, you're not waiting on life. Life is waiting on you. Make your move. Make it matter. Make it happen. Here's the part most people try to avoid: discomfort. The moment things get tough, when things start to stretch us, challenge us, make us feel exposed, that's usually when we retreat. We back off. We tell ourselves we'll come back later when it feels easier, when it's more manageable, when we're in a better mindset. No. But what if I told you that discomfort isn't the enemy, that it's actually one of your greatest allies? You see, real growth, the kind that changes your character, deepens your capacity, and sharpens your focus, doesn't come wrapped in comfort. It comes through resistance. It comes when you're being tested, not when things are going your way. Think about any moment in your life when you truly leveled up. It wasn't when everything was smooth and predictable. It was when you were uncomfortable, uncertain, maybe even a little afraid, but you chose to keep going anyway. We've built this culture around avoiding pain, avoiding struggle as if comfort is the goal, but comfort is a trap. It whispers, "You're doing fine. Stay right here. Don't push. Don't risk. Just coast." And the scary part? Voice is so seductive. It feels good, feels safe, but it's a lie. Because what feels safe today becomes stagnant tomorrow. And stagnant is where dreams go to die. You weren't built to stay still. You were built to evolve. And evolution requires pressure. It demands friction. You don't get stronger by lifting feathers. You get stronger by lifting weight. Heavy, difficult, resistance-filled weight. And not just physical weight, emotional weight, mental weight, the weight of responsibility, the weight of showing up for something bigger than yourself. That's what molds you. Discomfort is the gym of your potential. Every time you step into it, you're training. You're training resilience, grit, adaptability, courage. These aren't traits you're born with. They're forged. You earn them through effort, through failure, through the days when you don't want to get up and try again, but you do anyway. And here's the real shift. What if we stopped running from discomfort and started leaning into it? What if we saw struggle as a sign that we're on the right track, not the wrong one? If you're feeling stretched, that means you're growing. If you're feeling overwhelmed, that means you're expanding your limits. So if you're feeling uncertain, it means you're moving into new territory, and that's where the breakthroughs happen. Most people never get to their breakthrough because they give up when it gets hard. They don't realize that pain is part of the process. Not the punishment, the process. You're not being punished by your challenges. You're being shaped by them. Every time you push through discomfort, you're reprogramming your mind to understand that you can do hard things. You're creating evidence that you're stronger than your excuses. Look, the people you admire, athletes, creators, leaders, they've all made friends with discomfort. They don't enjoy it, but they respect it. They understand that the struggle is the path. They're not obsessed with avoiding the hard parts. They're obsessed with what's on the other side of them. And so they push, they fall, they get back up, and they grow. This is why discipline is so powerful. Discipline is choosing discomfort in the moment for the sake of growth in the long run. It's doing the thing you don't feel like doing because you know it's aligned with who you want to become. And the more you train that muscle, the more natural it becomes. You start to expect discomfort. You stop fearing it. You begin to recognize it as a signpost. Ah, this is the edge. I'm at the edge of my current capability. This is where the good stuff happens. So next time it feels too hard, when you're tempted to quit, to shrink, to fall back into old patterns, pause, hype, and remind yourself, this is the moment most people turn around. But you're not most people. You're not here to play it safe. You're here to grow. You're here to push. You're here to make it happen. The next version of you've been chasing, they're not found in comfort. They're waiting for you on the other side of resistance, and the only way to meet them is to go through it. Discomfort is not your obstacle, it's your invitation. Answer it. Let's talk about something we've all felt: motivation. That spark, that energy that surges through you after watching a powerful video, reading an inspiring quote, or hearing a speech like this one. In that moment, you feel unstoppable. You're ready to change everything, and then what happens? A few hours go by, maybe a day, and it fades. You're back to where you were. The fire dims, the energy drops, you hesitate. And before you know it, nothing's changed. That's because motivation, while it's exciting and even necessary at times, isn't what gets the work done. It's not what creates consistent results. Motivation is the fuel that gets you out of the driveway. But if you want to finish the race, you need something stronger. You need discipline. Discipline is the difference between starting something and actually finishing it. It's what kicks in on the days when you don't feel like showing up, when the excitement is gone and no one's clapping for you. It's the quiet force that says, I made a commitment, and I'm going to honor it. Not because I feel like it, but because it matters. People often say, I just need to get motivated. But what they're really saying is, I don't feel like doing the hard thing, and I'm hoping for a sudden burst of emotion to carry me through it. But emotion is fleeting, it's fragile, and you can't build anything strong on a fragile foundation. You don't brush your teeth only when you feel motivated, right? You do it because it's part of your routine. It's a non-negotiable. That's how the most successful people treat their work, their goals, their growth. It's built into their identity. It's just who they are now. So they don't wait for permission from their feelings to act. They act, and their feelings follow. When you rely on motivation, you become a slave to your mood. But when you rely on discipline, you become the master of your outcomes. That's when things start to change. Because now you're not just chasing the high, you're building something real, something that lasts. And look, I get it. Discipline isn't glamorous. It doesn't feel good most of the time. There are no fireworks, no big dramatic soundtrack playing in the background while you quietly do the work. But that's the beauty of it. Discipline is boring. And boring is where the magic happens. It's where the habits are formed. It's where consistency lives. It's where results begin to stack. Every day you show up, even when it's hard, even when it's inconvenient, you're casting a vote for the person you're becoming. You're proving to yourself that your future matters more than your comfort. You're teaching yourself that you can be trusted, that you follow through. Follow through. And that's powerful. Here's the truth. Motivation gets you to the gym on day one. Discipline is what brings you back when you're sore, tired, and no one's watching. Motivation starts the business idea. Or discipline keeps it running when the sales are slow and the doubts creep in. Motivation makes you excited to read the book. Discipline gets you through page 137 when it's dry and you'd rather scroll your phone. And you want to know something wild? The more you exercise discipline, the more you actually start to enjoy the process. You find meaning in the repetition. You find pride in the consistency. You realize that chasing a fleeting feeling was never the answer. It was the delay. Because if you keep waiting to feel inspired, you'll waste years standing still. But if you build the muscle of discipline, if you train yourself to act regardless of how you feel, you become unstoppable. You stop riding emotional roller coasters and you start building solid ground. Now, I'm not saying you should ignore your emotions, but I am saying you shouldn't let them run the show. You're in charge. You get to decide what matters most. And if something really matters, then how you feel about it in the moment shouldn't change your commitment to it. That's what separates the amateurs from the professionals. Amateurs work when they feel like it. Professionals work until the job is done. Amateurs wait for motivation. Professionals train their discipline. So when the motivation fades, and it will, don't panic. Don't quit. Smile. Because that's your cue. That's your moment to prove to yourself that this isn't just a phase. This is who you are now. Motivation might light the fire, but discipline keeps it burning. One of the biggest lies we've come to believe is that we're behind, that we're too late. that we missed the moment, or that everyone else figured it out while we were still trying to get started. It's subtle, but that lie creeps in quietly. You scroll through someone's feed, you hear a friend's success story, and suddenly there's this sinking feeling in your gut. Like you should have done more by now. Like you're losing. Like you failed before you even began. But that feeling? It's not truth. It's fear. It's comparison disguising itself as urgency, and it's paralyzing a lot of people who don't even realize how much progress they've already made. You are not behind. You are becoming. Just let that settle for a second. You are not behind. You are in the process of becoming who you're supposed to be. Who you're supposed to be. And becoming takes time. It takes longer than we want it to. It's messy. It's unpredictable. It doesn't follow a linear path, and it definitely doesn't fit into the neat little timelines we invent in our heads. But that doesn't mean you're off track. It means you're human. It's human. We've romanticized fast success. We celebrate the overnight wins. But what we don't see, what we never see, is the quiet work that came before it. The years of uncertainty, the false starts, the doubts, the mistakes, the learning, the growing. And because we don't see it, we assume it didn't happen. And that assumption convinces us that we're late. But nothing meaningful ever comes fast. Not purpose, not mastery, not transformation. That stuff is built brick by brick, day by day, through seasons of stillness and silence when it feels like nothing is happening. But just because you can't see the results yet doesn't mean the roots aren't growing. Sometimes your progress is invisible. Sometimes it's happening in ways that no one, including you, can measure yet. And that's okay. It still counts. Every decision to keep going when you could have quit. Every effort you make without applause. Every moment you choose growth over comfort. It all counts. You're not behind just because your journey doesn't look like someone else's. That's not how life works. You're on your own path, and if you try to skip ahead or rush it, you miss the development that's required to sustain what you're building. The foundation matters, and foundations take time. This is the season where you learn what you're made of. This is where your patience gets tested. This is where your resilience is formed. This is where you stop measuring progress by trophies and start measuring it by your own consistency. And that's powerful, because once you start measuring progress differently, you stop panicking. You stop trying to match everyone else's pace. You stop playing this exhausting game of catch-up, and you start growing. Authentically, intentionally, steadily. You begin to realize that life isn't a race, it's a process. You realize that the time you thought you lost wasn't wasted, it was preparation. It was necessary. You had to go through those moments of confusion. You had to slow down so you could gain perspective. Nothing you've experienced is irrelevant. It's all part of the becoming. And here's the truth. People who seem like they're ahead, they have their own doubts too. They have areas in their life where they feel behind. You're not seeing their whole story, you're just seeing the part they choose to share, the highlight, the peak. And if you measure your valley against someone else's mountaintop, you'll always feel like you're losing, even when you're exactly where you're supposed to be. You're not supposed to be where they are. You're supposed to be where they are. You're supposed to be where you are, because where you are right now is where your growth lives. It's where your next breakthrough is being formed. And if you keep showing up, keep doing the work, keep believing even when it's hard, you will look back and realize that you were never behind. You were just in process. So stop rushing. Stop comparing. Stop comparing. Stop beating yourself up for not being there yet. Whatever even means, focus on here. Focus on today. Because the people who truly make it happen, they're not the ones who move the fastest. They're the ones who keep moving when it's slow, when it's hard, when it's quiet, when it's quiet. Don't rush the process. Respect it. Because the becoming is just as important as the arriving. You're not behind, you're building. Keep going. Pain has a way of making us feel stuck, doesn't it? Like we've hit a wall we can't climb. It knocks the wind out of us, pulls the ground out from beneath us, and leaves us questioning everything. When you're in it, when you're really hurting, it's hard to believe anything good could possibly come out of it. We just want it to be over. We want to move on, forget it, bury it, escape it. But what if pain isn't there to stop you? What if it's actually trying to push you? What if it's actually trying to push you? Every single one of us has a story, a loss, a disappointment, a betrayal. a failure that cut deep. And in those moments, when life hits you hard and unexpected, you have two choices: let it break you or let it build you. That's it. It's not about avoiding pain, it's about choosing what to do with it. You can run from it, numb it, pretend it doesn't matter, but pain has a way of finding its way back until you face it. Or you can use it. You can turn it into fuel. You can take the very thing that tried to knock you down and make it the reason you stand taller. You can take the pieces that shattered and rebuild something even stronger. Not despite the pain, but because of it. Think about some of the strongest, most driven people you know. Chances are they didn't become that way in comfort. They became that way through struggle, through heartbreak, through being told they weren't good enough, through rejection, loss, and failure. What made them powerful wasn't what happened to them. It was how they responded to what happened to them. Predanor, they didn't let the pain define them. They used it as a mirror, as a motivator, as a message. They let it reveal their character. And instead of shrinking, they expanded. They took that pain and said, I'm going to do something with this. I'm going to turn this into something meaningful. Oh, because the truth is, pain carves out space inside of you. And what you fill that space with, that's what makes the difference. You can fill it with bitterness, self-pity, and resentment. Or you can fill it with purpose, strength, and clarity. The choice is always yours. There's something about going through pain that makes you see life differently. You stop wasting time on things that don't matter. You stop playing small. You stop living in fear of what other people think. Because once you've been through enough hurt, you realize what real fear feels like. You've lived it, and from that, a different kind of fire is born. That fire, it doesn't burn out like motivation. It's not flashy, it's not loud, but it's steady, it's relentless, and it shows up every single day with one message: I've been through worse than this, and I'm still here. And sometimes that's all the strength you need. You don't have to be the smartest, the fastest, or the most talented. You just have to be the one who refuses to stay down. The one who uses pain as a platform instead of a prison. We all want purpose. We all want something to fight for, something to build, something to wake up for. But purpose rarely shows up in the good times. It reveals itself when everything feels like it's falling apart. Shows up in the rebuilding. In the search for meaning. In the moments when we ask, why did this happen to me? And then, slowly, we learn to ask a better question. What can I do with it? That shift is everything. Because when you start using your pain instead of being used by it, you become powerful in a way that comfort could never produce. You stop being afraid of the struggle. You stop needing everything to go your way. And you start realizing that maybe the things that hurt you didn't come to destroy you, they came to wake you up. So if you're in the middle of something hard right now, if you're carrying pain that no one else sees, know this: you're not broken. You're becoming. You're not weak. You're being refined. And whatever has tried to hold you down doesn't stand a chance against someone who decides to rise again and again with fire in their chest and purpose in their steps. Pain isn't the end of your story. It's the turning point. Let it push you. Let it build you. Let it make you unstoppable. At some point, you have to make a decision. Not a maybe. Not a we'll see. A real decision. The kind that closes the door to excuses and opens the door to action. Because here's the truth. Nothing changes until you do. Nothing happens until you commit. Nothing happens until you commit. We live in a world full of options, full of distractions, full of escape routes. So we keep one foot in and one foot out. We say we want it, but only if it's convenient. Only if it comes quickly. Only if it doesn't hurt too much. Too much. And that's why most people never actually get there. They flirt with their dreams. They dabble, but they never fully commit. The ones who do, they're not superhuman. They're not born with some secret skill set. They're just people who made a decision and refused to back out of it. They committed, and then they executed, and then they did it again.
And then they did it again.
And again, and again. Because this isn't about a one-time push. It's about showing up repeatedly with the same intensity you had on day one, even when the excitement wears off. Especially when the excitement wears off. That's what separates someone with a hobby from someone with a mission. What, Lane? If you want to make it happen, whatever IT whore, you can't keep dipping your toe in the water and calling it swimming. At some point, you've got to jump in. You've got to burn the backup plan. You've got to decide that the only way out is through. But here's the part most people miss. The decision is the easy part. It's the follow through that matters. Commitment is tested in the execution. It's not tested when it's easy. It's tested when everything goes sideways, when you hit a wall, when the results don't show up right away. That's where most people give up. Not because they didn't want it, but because they didn't commit to it in a way that could survive disappointment. They expected progress to be fast and smooth. And when it wasn't, they questioned the goal instead of questioning their consistency. But real commitment is stubborn. It doesn't ask how long it will take, it says, as long as it takes. It doesn't say, if this doesn't work, I'll try something else. It says, this will work, because I will keep working it until it does. And here's where execution comes in. Once you've decided and committed, there's only one thing left. Do the work. Not talk about the work. Not fantasize about the outcome. Do the work, day after day, small step by small step. Execution doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be consistent. That's how empires are built. Not by doing one giant, impressive thing, but by doing the small, unglamorous things with relentless focus. You want to get in shape? Show up at the gym when no one's watching. You want to write a book? Write when the ideas aren't flowing. You want to grow a business? Serve when no one's buying. That's how it works. Decide, commit, execute, then do it again, and again, and again. Over time, the compound effect kicks in. You look back and realize you've become someone different. Not because you had a breakthrough, but because you didn't stop. And the most beautiful part? The more you execute, the more your identity shifts. You stop seeing yourself as someone who wants to do big things. You start seeing yourself as someone who does big things. You stop wondering if you have what it takes and start acting like someone who does. But it starts with a choice, right now, not later, not when it's easier, not when you feel more ready. Because here's the truth. Later is a myth. Easier is a fantasy. Ready is a lie. The only thing real is now. So ask yourself, what are you waiting for? What more do you need? What else do you think has to happen before you give yourself permission to go all in? Because if you don't decide, life will decide for you. If you don't commit, someone else's agenda will fill your time. And if you don't execute, your dreams become just that dreams, become just that dreams. There's no magic. There's no shortcut, but there is a process. Decide, commit, execute, repeat, over and over until your vision becomes your reality. Until you wake up one day and realize it happened not because you were lucky, but because you were relentless. You were relentless. So if you're ready to stop talking and start building, this is it. Decide now. Commit fully, execute daily, and repeat until nothing can stop you. So now you know. It was never about waiting. It was never about waiting. It was never about feeling ready. It was never about being the smartest, the most talented, or the most connected. It's always been about one thing, you. Your decision, your commitment, your discipline, your willingness to push through discomfort, to rise from pain, to believe in your process, even when the results are invisible. Because the truth is, you don't need more time. You don't need more motivation. You just need to decide that from this moment forward, you're done holding back. You push yourself. You show up when it's hard. You take ownership. And you make it happen. Not someday, not later. Now, your future isn't waiting. It's watching. So step up. Show it who you really are.